Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of For the Queen. I am Dade, the Loreseeker, Daedalus. I am the GM of the Loreseekers Guild, and joining me today, instead of HyperPixie, who has all her stuff packed up and moving, is GoneCrazyBackSn, Katie, my good friend. She is a
Hey.
PS PlayStation veteran of Elder Scrolls, and recently PCNA. So as you can see, I'm very festive today. I've got my hat on and I got a Christmas tree here behind me, so I'm ready for the New Life Festival. So, Katie, tell us your story. How did you get into Lore Seekers? How did you get into the game? What are your characters? Come on, let's hear it.
All right. Well, I've been playing Elder Scrolls since Oblivion. I picked Oblivion up in college, and my roommate had it actually, and he was like, "You gotta see this game. It's so cool." I'm like, okay. And I started playing it shortly after he got it and brought it back, and got my own copy, and had it on console then. And then all the stuff for Elder Scrolls Online started coming up, later on, and I thought, okay, can they really like make that game the same as Oblivion and Skyrim, which I absolutely loved when I played it on the PS3. So I was like, I don't know, can they do it?
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, I wasn't in on ESO right at like beta or anything after that, but very, very shortly after launch, I started playing on PlayStation, and I hadn't left ever since. So um, I have loved seeing all the changes. It was weird going from vet ranks to CP and all of that stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
it's been really, really cool to kind of see the evolution of the game and the differences between everything as it's been growing and the community is growing. The ESO fam is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So that's been super cool to see. And then finally, just recently, like within the past, what, I guess, I don't know, 6 months or so,
Mm-hmm.
I joined you all on PCNA too. So that's kind of like the Elder Scrolls portion. In terms of Lore Seekers, I found it very, very early on. I think they had only done maybe one episode when I first started listening to Jibs and Cash, when they basically started to create everything. And that was because at the time I was a new mom and I was doing a lot of commuting because my son was staying with my parents. And I was like, man, I love Elder Scrolls. I really wish that someone would do like something that I can listen to in the car besides the music. And so I started searching around on Spotify, and I found like Tales of Tamriel because they have been around for forever, which is awesome, and
Right.
listened to them a little bit, and then came across Lore Seekers, and I just loved the camaraderie, between the two of them while they were talking, and it was fun to listen to while I was driving. And then everybody pushed them to make a guild,
Mm-hmm.
and the Discord and all that stuff, and that community kind of, for lack of better words, exploded. So it was really cool because I think I remember right after hearing the podcast going like, okay, I have to download Discord. And then I downloaded Discord and I joined the Discord. And I think there were only like maybe 10 people or something in there at the time, like within the first couple hours. And then by the end of that day, there was a decent amount of people in there. And I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. Like maybe there'll be a few more people that join, and then here we are a few years later, this huge massive guild across all platforms and all
Yeah.
around the world, and it's so cool to be a part of that and to have that, have been
2,000
there kind
people
of,
later.
yeah, have been there kind of from the beginning to see it grow both on the Discord and on the PlayStation community, and then now on the PC community. So it's a really cool journey to be on. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about your PlayStation character. What do you main over there? What do you play?
So I main a Bosmer Nightblade, Stanblade, over on PlayStation 4. She is my original character. I am one of those people that I like to make alts, but then I never finish them. So I have
There's
gotten
a lot of
better at
us.
that. Yeah, I have gotten better at that. But my main that has like all my achievements, she's my achievement hound and my crafter and all that stuff, is a Bosmer Nightblade, stamina based on PS4. So when I came to PC, I kind of took her and like tried to recreate her again on PC as well. But I do have a tank who is an Imperial on the PlayStation. She's not finished. I feel bad because I kind of stopped, I think, around level 40 with her. But she's an Imperial Dragon Knight. So I'm hoping that I can get back and finish her up at some point because I think I would like the tanking role if I played it more,
Right.
And then I have a Stam Warden as well over there. So I don't have any mag characters on PlayStation, which is really weird. I've never made a Sork or anything over there. And I actually just about 2 weeks ago made my first Sork, mag Sork, and it's on PC. So I kind of was like, okay, let's make it like a new experience. I'll do something new when I go over to PC and see how it is, since I already have leveled my Nightblade on PC to CP. So
Right. Awesome.
yeah.
So how are you finding it? I mean, what's your character on PC? What are you mostly playing?
So right now, the character that is standing next to you on stream is a Nightblade as well. She's also Bosmer Nightblade. She does bow dual wield, stand based. But my second character that I have made is now the Mag Sword. So, but she's super low level. I think she's only like level 7 or something. So I'm hoping that before the event ends, I can actually get her a little bit further along with that XP buff that we have going on.
So obviously you like the Bosmer.
I do. I think it's because, I don't know, I just like that kind of like in the woods, earthy, I guess, kind of background. I find the wood elf lore like very interesting and a little bit intriguing, which is cool. I will admit, like, in terms of lore, I love reading about it. I'm not like a lore hound. I don't know everything by any means, which is why I found Loreseeker so interesting initially. When I was, kind of coming to Elder Scrolls Online more and learning about some of that background stuff that you get more exposure to, I guess, in the quests, because it's such a bigger map than anywhere else that we've been in the other games. So and I'm also kind of short in real life, and I just think it's really funny to have a like super short wood elf running around, but that will also just kill you and gank you. So I think that's kind of fun. I like that, a little bit more stealthy play style. So I think that's what draws me to them, I think, initially. But I will say, maining a Stamblade for this long has been really weird, because there have been some crazy weird changes with combat and, just learning new mechanics and weird things. I remember when we first came over from veteran ranks to CP, it was super foreign because I just could not sustain for the life of me. I don't know what it was that necessarily changed back then, because I wasn't as aware of like patch notes and things like that at the time.
Right.
But I just remember struggling with it for a little bit and being like, do I want to stay with this anymore? This is a little rough. But then I kind of was like, you know what? I have fun playing it. That's what the important part is. So that's, why I've stuck with her for so long. So
awesome. So I just had this note handed to me. I am supposed to ask you about the red name takeover. What's that
about? Okay. So Never Separate, the PS4 GM, teases me because on Discord, when I joined the PCNA channels, my name turned to red. So he constantly razzes me about it when we do stuff. He's like, red names not allowed here, stuff like that. And I know he's all in good fun. Tonight before the stream, he teased me and he said, hey, so are you ready for the red name takeover? And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. What do you mean? And he said, well, as of January 1st, there's going to be a new GM. And I said, oh yeah, who's that? And he goes, it's you. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, as of January 1st, all the red names are taking over all the platforms, and then I will be directly reporting to you, and I will have to address you as Lord from now on. And I was like,
wow,
dude,
right.
stop I was like, stop pulling my leg. Like, what? Mm, what? So that's the red name takeover, apparently. Yeah,
You know, that sounds a little bit about
he
like my
never.
conversation with Jibs and Cash when they gave me this guild.
I could see that happening. That's why I was like, I'm sorry, come. I said, I'm sorry, come again. What did you say?
Yeah.
Are you are you are you sure about that? I mean, it would absolutely be an honor, of course, but he made me chuckle with that, and I love the hard time he gives me. We do dungeons together, usually on Tuesday nights, and it's a fun red name, poke fun at me. And then sometimes he likes to tease me in Discord and change my name back to blue just for fun. So
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
yeah, and
a good time.
there's nothing to that. It doesn't mean you're more important if you have a red name. It just means you're PC,
No.
and they have to come in some
Right.
kind of order. So I can't make them
Right.
all equal. I guess then we'd
No,
all be what, white names, or we'd all be black names.
I
I
guess
don't know.
so. Yeah. And I know it has to do with the roles and the order in which the roles, kind of fall
Right.
as you do the role select when you join the Discord. It's just funny because when it changed, it was like, whoa, wait, what just happened? Why did I get kicked out of the guild? Like, what's going on? Um,
Yeah.
so that made me laugh a little. So that's the red name takeover. The red name takeover, according to Never Separate on PS4. So
All
watching
right.
you,
Well,
sir.
we have a
If I
thing
see
now.
you.
The red name takeover. Okay.
I guess so. I guess so.
All right. So let's get into our lore. Right now, we are standing at a location of an old shrine, and Katie's going to
We
talk
are.
about that a little bit. This one happens to be in the Rift. So have at it, Katie.
Yeah, so we are standing at an old life shrine, and I thought it might be kind of fun to do a little bit of lore on the old life remembrance or the old life festival because New Life obviously is a very popular event that we've had in Elder Scrolls Online for a few years. And you can tell with that event that there are lots of different ways that different races in Tamriel celebrate new life or the new year and the coming of new things. So I thought it would be kind of cool to look at new life a little bit, but also look at how it relates to old life because there is this new quest that they've added outside of Windhelm for the old life. So um, many of us, I'm sure, have already been to the tent just outside of Windhelm, hopefully. There we find two NPCs who will give us information about quests. One of them is Brita. She does the new life quests. And the other one is, I'm going to try not to butcher his name, Petronius Galenus. I don't
Sounds
know.
good to me.
Yeah, it sounds good
Much
to
better
me.
than Jib's could have done.
I should put some like that Dwemer lore book, put some marbles in my mouth and just, try and pronounce everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he gives a newly added old life quest. So New Life, as some of us may know, is an event. It celebrates the birth of the new year. It takes place at the beginning of the winter solstice in Tamriel. Originally, it celebrates the Magnus, the sun god, and the days growing longer. But eventually, from that, because that's a lot of other lore, like all of this information that I'm talking about, I researched on the UESP. So thank you, UESP. You all are awesome. But you can kind of get into a rabbit hole because there are so many different things that kind of tie into the new life lore. And then also, once you know some of the stuff, tie into the achievements in game, the motifs in game, things like that. So, going back to that, it was originally a celebration of Magnus, the sun god, and the days growing longer. But then it eventually kind of morphed into this new year celebration, heralding in the new year, bringing in the new, out with the old, that kind of thing. And a gift also of new life. So the new life of the coming year. Um, like I mentioned a minute ago, all of the major races in Tamriel celebrate new life. Maomer, werewolves, vampires, and typically the undead, of course, do not view it in a very positive light because they look at it as being the return of a longer day and a shorter night. And to them, that's no good because they like to do things in darkness, I guess,
Of
be
course.
scary.
Yes.
So many of our new life celebrations that you see in game are based on historical events or they can carry some sort of a deeper meaning for whatever the race is or the location that they are done at or performed at. Celebrations will typically include things like feasting, drinking, dancing, games, and that sort of thing. However, we are standing next to an old life shrine. So, in contrast to New Life, we have the Old Life Festival or the Old Life Remembrance. It's primarily imperial tradition. It's considered to be sort of the counter, I guess you could call it, to the New Life Festival. It's almost like a yin and yang or a dark and light type of scenario.
And you said
Uh,
imperial, so hint, hint,
I
hint,
Yeah,
hint, hint.
hint 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 imperial. Yeah. That kind of goes along with the name that I said earlier, if you notice. Um, so the Old Life Festival is looked at as this kind of necessary way of acknowledging the old year and remembering, things that have happened in the past so that you can actually pass into the new year. Um, During the old lifetime, people write messages of remembrance and they write them to their dead loved ones or to others, and they complete a pilgrimage like we are doing, essentially, standing here next to this shrine. And the shrines can be found all over Tamriel. They are all across the map, but they complete a pilgrimage to the Old Life Shrine, and then they light a candle at the shrine, and then they will burn the actual message because the hope is that they will receive some sort of a response back, whether it is catching a glimpse of a loved one, whether it is hearing someone speak to them. It's some sort of a way of kind of connecting with the past and the old and those that they may have lost. The other thing that can happen, though, is that proxies can also deliver messages for different people. So that is actually seen in the new quest that's given as well. One of the things that your character as the Vestige can do is you can deliver proxy messages to one of these shrines and then burn the message for them so that hopefully it gets sent into, the above for a response to come back to the person that has requested that you travel to that shrine, which is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, though, that kind of goes in with old life, like I mentioned before, is these stories or this darkness that is the counter to the like new, happy, joyous stuff that we have that goes on with new life. So, one of the most popular dark stories that is shared during old life is one that is called The Wolf That Craved the Sky. It's actually a super interesting story if you kind of get into it and you start to dig into the wiki a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and look at the different versions of the story that are found throughout the races of Tamriel, because there are quite a few different versions of it. And one of the most noted ones involves Hircine, which is pretty cool, and the skin changer aspect. Now, you may recognize that name, Skin Changer, because it's one of the motif sets that you can get during some of the events that we have. But the story with Hircine gets a little bit different depending upon which like racial background you're looking at it from, I guess you could say. There is a really popular version among Reachmen, which I found very interesting, especially with Markarth and all the new stuff that's come out recently, where two of Hircine's aspects actually come to like a conflict with each other, and it's a wolf and a bear. And they fight over the sun because the wolf is trying to eat the sun and make sure that the nights are longer because they don't want the winter solstice to happen and have those, long days come back again. So they think if they get rid of the sun, then that will be the best way to do that. So they send the Reachmen, essentially this wolf wants to eat the sun. The Reachmen send this big mighty bear, and this bear tries to keep this other man beast, if you will, from getting a hold of the sun and eating it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting, like I said, because there's lots of different ways that you can go with this old life stuff. There's a few different lore books. One of them actually I thought was really cool because it mentions the previous story that I just talked about, but it also kind of shows from the perspective of how someone in Tamriel might celebrate old life or might look at old life. So I thought it might be really cool to read aloud really quick. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Awesome.
All right, let's see. Pardon me here because I'm going to the page here. All right. So this book is called From Old Life to New, A Tale of Two Festivals. And again, apologies if I butcher this name. It is by Botjolf Meadwarmer.
Hmm.
Last name I can get right. First name, probably not. And it says, The Tale of a Mythological Hungry Wolf. Duh, why is the New Life Herald so scary? When my littlest asked this of me during the New Life Festival, I laughed. I had once asked the very same question of my own Da. He said, Come the fall, you should ask your Dan. To understand the answer, we must look to the Old Life Festival, which we hold as the days grow short and the fields lie fallow. During this time, we bring forth dark tales and unsettling songs. The unknown passenger tells of a cloaked figure on a ship who none of the other travelers recall boarding. The lost fawn in the woods learns a stalking wolf killed its mother and wears her skin, but in haste to flee, it takes shelter in the wolf's den. The midnight lodger rents a room in the dead of night, but vanishes before morning, along with the innkeeper's child. We tell these tales as the nights stretch long. Every race has variations, but there are common themes across Tamriel. Danger in the darkness, a threat to the innocent or to the young, and a malignant creature that slips away amongst the relative safety of the hearth and home. But the wolf that craved the sky is the one that still makes me shiver, no matter how high the fire burns. As my Nan told it to all the village children one long night ago, a great wolf with burning eyes once stalked the land at night. Its endless hunger drove it across the land where it feasted on the volcanoes of Morrowind, drank the Iliac Bay dry enough to form the Alikir, and used the great trees of Valenwood to pick its teeth. But the wolf could not be sated, no matter how much it ate or drank. It wanted more and more and more. One night the wolf saw two moons dancing through the sky. Masser, the bigger one, laughed and carried on. Secunda, the smaller one, followed Masser's lead. Be quiet, snarled the wolf, or I'll pull you from the sky. Then I'll crack you open and devour everything inside like alien cities. You'll never be able to reach us, taunted Masser. Reach us, echoed Secunda. Oh? Snarled the wolf. I will leap from the highest mountain until I reach the sky. Then I will stand astride two little moons, gnashing and tearing until there are moons no more. But everyone will notice if one of us is missing, cried Masser. One of us is missing, echoed Secunda. I will change my skin to match your own, snarled the wolf. And after I will consume all the stars. You can't do this to us, cried Masser. Do this to us, echoed Secunda. But I can, snarled the wolf. And when I've gorged myself on the sky, and when there is nothing left but darkness, I will stand astride the world and howl. As my Nan leaned forward, fingers extended like claws, and a figure with a wolf's head and howled. All the children shrieked, and then the candles blew out. I remember shivering in the darkness, trying not to make a sound. It seemed like forever, but it was likely a dozen heartbeats. A soft light emerged from the lantern held aloft by my Nan. She faced the figure with the wolf's head and said, Not yet, wolf. The sun's light is too rich a meal. It will consume you instead. Then I shall wait till the sun is weakest, snarled the skin changer, and on that day I shall swallow it whole. You can try, said my Nan, her voice firm, but the sun may have other ideas. With that, the lantern flared. The skin changer howled in pain and fled from the room. For a few moments, there was silence. Then my Nan spoke. Never forget the danger in the darkness. It can slip into your midst and drag you into the night. But light at its dimmest is the old life passing behind us. Soon there will be new life, and the sun shall herald its arrival. A good number of weeks passed, and the New Life Festival began. I remember assembling in the square just before noon, and I remember children screaming as the wolf man walked boldly toward us. But we stopped when he pulled the wolf's head from his shoulders, revealing the person beneath. It was my own Da. He wasn't a wolf man at all. In the light of the noonday sun, he was just a person in a costume. The bear claws and snarling stylized faces worked into his garb seemed almost ridiculous by the light of day. He smiled and told us the light of the sun had filled him with hope, and that he would be our new life herald for the festival. So years later, when my littlest asked me why the new life herald was so scary, I laughed. Come the fall, you should ask your Nan. So
I love it. That's good.
thank you. So, like a really, really cool story about how New Life and Old Life kind of integrate together. And I think it's super cool that this year they chose to do an Old Life quest. I don't know if it was a way of acknowledging 2020 or things that have happened in the past and like heralding in a new year, or if it truly is just they finally decided to bring that into the game. But it's very cool lore. I highly suggest
Mhm.
going and looking it up and kind of perusing the UESP and kind of digging into it, because there is way more than I touched on and so much to
Always.
be able to read about.
Yeah, that's awesome. It ties into a lot of things. What's coming up
Hmm.
next year? What's going on now?
Yeah,
What's happening in the real world? It's really cool how they
yeah,
brought that in. And as
yeah.
Katie said, it is the New Life Festival right now, and it will be until January 5th at 10 a.m. So get over to get your tickets. You get 3 tickets per day. You can get any of the Indrix now, I believe.
Yeah, I think there's berries for all of them. I'm pretty sure Brita has berries for all of them.
Yeah. So you can finish off your collection if that's your thing. And what kills me is crowns are on sale. So buy them up.
Oh, take
I
my
went,
money.
I went too far. I bought 42,000 crowns. So
Dane!
I know. Well, I mean, the timing, I got a Christmas gift and it happened the same time I learned about the crown sale. And,
It's
I just
okay.
applied it where it
We'll
should
let
go,
it
I
go.
guess.
Just this once. Just kidding.
So I have some crowns to spend.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, exactly. So, in ESO news, I don't know if everybody saw the preview trailer, but it's the Gates of Oblivion next year. Katie mentioned
So
when she
cool.
was talking about herself, she first started playing ESO with Oblivion, which was 15 years ago, this coming
That's
March,
crazy.
believe it or not. Does that make you feel old, Katie?
Totally, because I was most definitely in college then. So I was it's like, oh, I wasn't in college that long ago. Oh, yeah, you were. You were.
Yeah.
It's been that long. So yeah, it makes me feel a little old.
Yep. So the global reveal event for that will be on January 21st. I don't know how they're doing that yet. I'm sure it's going to be an online thing. It's not going to, I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on this virus. But
Yeah, I don't know either. I think that I read or that they mentioned in the last ESO live that it was going to be like an online global reveal. I just don't know if they're going to do kind of a similar format that they did when they did the big, what was that, Elsewhere, I guess, reveal on Twitch. Um, was
no,
that
that would have been the
Elsewhere?
Graymore reveal,
Oh, that
wasn't it? The
that was
last one?
Graymore, wasn't it?
That's the one Cash was at, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, or maybe they'll do kind of the style that they did for Elsewhere, where Jibs was there when they had like the kind of smaller one that they actually did at Twitch. I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess we'll have to wait and see. So they've
Yeah.
been doing a
Yeah, we shall.
fantastic job with all the ESO lives that they've been doing from home and with all the stuff that they've been doing from home. I'm so impressed with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So if everybody's wondering that's watching the stream, this is my cat Mitzi. She's decided to come up and pay a visit to everybody. She
cat
gets love
tax.
starred sometimes. So all right, so to continue on the conversation about the Gates of Oblivion, Elder Scrolls 4, that was Oblivion.
Hmm.
It takes place in Cyrodiil, where the Mythic Dawn, and the Mythic Dawn is a cult dedicated to the worshipping of Meru's Dagon. It's a Daedric Prince of Destruction that we haven't heard much yet from in ESO.
Nope.
He's trying to open portals into Oblivion. This takes place in the Third Era. So we are in ESO right now in the Second Era. So this is going to happen before the events of Oblivion. We'll have to keep that in mind. But there's a lot
Yeah.
of things we could probably glean from what happens in Oblivion, the game. Um, for instance, the Amulet of Kings, if you remember, and I'm not giving away any spoilers. I could, but I'm not going to. The
I
Amulet
mean,
of
it's been
Kings,
15 years.
yeah, that's right. The Amulet of Kings plays a huge role in Oblivion, and it does as well in this game if you've been through the main quest line. And there's also a book that opens portals to Oblivion. The reason I bring that up is that in the preview video, it was obviously Evely, the Bosmer,
I love
who was
her.
having a nightmare, and she was holding onto a book that was whispering names, and it appeared that a portal opened and a huge Daedra pops out, and she has to try to do battle with that. She's terrified. So it kind of
I
seems
would
to
be too.
tie into the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where they go with this. I mean, I'm rusty on the Oblivion main quest, obviously, because it's been 15 years.
Right.
Um, but I kind of went back and looked. I actually went back on YouTube and found the end, obviously spoiler free, of Oblivion, and I kind of rewatched it, like the last, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes of the game main quest or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was very interesting to me having completed the main quest and Cadwell's Gold in ESO. So I am very, very interested to see what they do with that, with the Amulet of Kings, and also
Mm-hmm.
just with the Oblivion kind of gates portals mechanic. Like,
Yep.
uh, this all takes place beforehand, so I don't think they can do like a full Tamrielic, of course, invasion with Oblivion gates, but I will be very interested to kind of see whether they integrate a mechanic like that into a trial or a dungeon
Mm-hmm.
or a main quest piece. It will be very interesting to see.
If you don't have time to play Oblivion, the game, and I recommend that you do, it's a little dated, I will say.
Yeah.
But if you're a nerd like me, you have time to go back and play it. But if not, you can go on to the interwebs, and they have YouTubes, as Katie just mentioned, and there's Wikipedia, and there's a lot of places where you can read the whole story about Oblivion and how it
Mm-hmm.
may kind of surmise or guess how it's going to play into our game. It's all very interesting.
For sure.
So let's move on to guild news. Fairgal, who runs the Xbox NA and EU, sent an update, and there's a lot going on over there right now. They're going to do a 2020 New Life Festival Naked Nord race on Saturday, January 2nd at 2 p.m. Central. Look at her giving me times in Central. You know, there's no other times except Eastern as far as I'm concerned. I
Okay,
should have
you know what's
translated
funny
this.
though? On PlayStation, that happens too because bless, like, I think a lot of our PS4 players are in Central and we always do stuff in Eastern. And it's funny because I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. And they're like, well, it's 8 o'clock here. Okay. Like,
Right.
I love you guys. I wish it was 8 o'clock here.
So the Naked Nord race will start out in Davin's Watch in Stone Falls and will run through 3 zones to be announced. We will all embark on a cross-country endurance race through a lot of hazards and hilarity. Each entrant is required to wear either the official Loreseeker's tabard, the Nordic Bather towel, or nothing at all. No weapons and no gear, only your skills work here. There are no real rules except that you should try to stay on top of your mount and no using way shrines. Judges are monitoring that, and we can see when people fly through the air, so don't even try it. That sounds pretty fun.
That does sound fun.
The 2020 New Life Festival House Contest on Xbox. The entries have until the end of Sunday, December 27th, which is this Sunday, to finalize decorations and make it your primary so the judging can begin. So keep that in mind, Xbox people. You can enter full house decor or small apartment or room diorama. Judges will decide the top 3 in the categories listed. Use your imagination. Wednesday, December 30th, we will announce 3 winners. Each prize is 100K for most festive, most unique, and most wintry. All right.
Sounds
That's some
fun.
good cash for everybody, too.
Yeah.
And of course, you have World Boss Wednesday, like everybody should be doing. And that's going to be hosted in an icy, snowy locale to be announced on Xbox. And also, she's got more stuff going on. Winter
Wait, there's
Wonderland.
more.
Yeah, exactly. Show a photo in the prize box channel, I guess in Discord, of your best winter scene and or costume. Voting will start December 26th and end on January 2nd. And there's also a Christmas gift giveaway. She says she has, that being Farragal, 30 rune boxes to give away this New Life
Wow.
Fest. First 30 members to sign up on the list gets one. So that's awesome, Farragal. Thank you for organizing so many fun things for the Xbox people. That's
Well
awesome.
done.
Yeah. On PCNA, we're not going to do anything on the 24th or 25th. We're going to keep the events clear so everybody can celebrate the holidays and be with their families and just chill. However, our New Life party is going to be Saturday the 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We are going to meet at a tavern in somewhere in a snowy locale and just have some fun there for a little bit. But there's going to be more to it than just that. There's going to be fun and fabulous prizes, a lore riddle scavenger hunt, a dueling tournament, feats of agility, more most festive costume contest, a drunken bather's towel walk. It's a Loreseeker tradition. Everybody knows about that one. And we are going to give away over 1 million in gold. And we are also going to give away this Torchbug pet to one lucky winner. This is
Glowy
unique.
butt.
You can't get this unless you win it. Came from Gina herself. So you could win that on the holiday party. And you don't have to be just in PCNA. You can join us in Discord if you're a Loreseeker, if you want to keep track of us. And I will also be Twitch streaming the party, so you can watch that as well. And then after all that's said and done, and we're partied out, I guess, we're going to go to the Halls of Fabrication trial. And we're going to try to collect some Dwarven construct repair parts for something that we will explain at the party. So that's going to be a big event for us. Sounds like a lot of fun to me. So
yeah,
Jamarn is going to be our master of ceremonies for this. So as you can imagine, it won't be boring.
No.
Yeah. So Katie,
yeah.
I want to know what you think the differences are between PlayStation and PC. You don't have to go too much in depth, but I mean just generally how the game is, and then the difference in the Loreseekers between each. Because we all know PCNA is the best, but I like to hear about the others too.
Yeah, Red Name Takeover, right?
That's right, the Red Name Takeover.
Oh, no. Actually, I am pleasantly surprised with how easy it has been to go back and forth between the two. So the biggest thing that like made me go, I don't know if I could do this when I kind of came over to PC from PS4 is the UI is completely different. If you are playing with a controller, even on PC, it changes the UI. So the first few times I logged in when I hadn't figured out how to set up a controller with the game or anything like that yet was a little bit challenging because I had no idea how to get into any of the menus or anything like that. So in terms of like the game structure itself, that is the biggest difference for me. That and of course add-ons, but don't tell anybody I haven't put any add-ons on PC yet. I just told everybody it's fine. Because I know. Because for me, I wanted to be able to go back and forth a little bit easier, I guess you could say, and not get used to having the add-ons on PC right now, since I still do play my PlayStation account and I'm subbed over there and all of that stuff. So it's kind of like I don't know what I'm missing, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and do you use a PlayStation controller too with PC, don't you?
I do. So I have it Bluetooth typically to my laptop, and I run, if I'm playing on Stadia, you don't have to do anything because Stadia is awesome and it automatically sets up with your controller. But if I'm playing my actual like downloaded game that I have to do through the ESO launcher, I have to use DS4 Windows, which is really actually super easy to use and not bad at all. So in terms of that, like, I guess game setup and stuff, that's the biggest difference for me. But in terms of the game itself and kind of the feeling that you get from playing, I will say it actually is a little bit different. Of course, the game, the quests, all that stuff is the same. But in terms of the community itself, it's pretty interesting to me because I remember one of the first times I logged into PC and I hit a way shrine, it was almost overwhelming for me because the game was so populated versus on PlayStation. Now, that's not to say that PlayStation has a super low population. It doesn't, particularly during events and stuff. It gets very busy. But for PlayStation itself, I think one of the big differences for me is that when I'm playing on PlayStation, it almost feels a little bit more like a single player game that I have a community that I can group with or that I can join versus like a strict MMO. So it feels like, okay, I'm playing an Elder Scrolls game, but there's other people there and I can join them, I can run dungeons with them, I can do stuff like that. Uh, but like we have voice chat, which is really different because, you don't see a lot of text chat scrolling or anything like that for grouping. It's kind of like you're walking around and you may or may not hear people talking or wanting to group or asking for things. I'm going to be honest, a lot of the time I leave that off because I don't really want to hear other people's background noise and stuff disrupt
Right.
my immersion on console. So I will say that if for me it feels a little bit more lonely, I guess you could say, if you don't have an active guild or if you don't have friends that you play with. When I first started the game, I had a core group of friends. We played every night. We weren't in any big guilds or anything like that. But then they left the game after a little while, and then I felt a little lonely until I found Loreseekers. So the Loreseekers PlayStation community has been fantastic. They are fun, vibrant, wonderful people to group with. We run Treacherous Tuesdays every Tuesday night, and you do see the guild chat, like you'll see that rolling a lot, or people talking and whatnot in voice chat. But for the most part, it feels a little bit more single player to me on console. When I'm on PC, it feels more like a true MMO. I played Ultima Online and stuff, a long time ago. And that was kind of one of my first MMO experiences, but it was nothing like I'm sure WoW or any of those types of MMOs are. But for me on PC, ESO feels much more of like, I will say, more community driven or more, there's always someone talking in chat, like in text chat. There's always groups happening for dolmens. There's always stuff like that you don't quite see, I would say, as consistently on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So for me, PC feels a little bit more populated and less like a single player game. So, but I will say the PS4 community, I think, has grown immensely in the last few years, or at least it feels that way and seems that way.
Awesome. That's a lot of good insight into it. I actually have a PS4 account. I don't get there very often.
I see you every once in a while.
Account too. Yeah, I try to pop in every once in a while, but I really want to level them up. But there's only so much time in a day. What are you gonna do?
Very, very true. And I play on both, so it's like I split my time. Like I have Tuesday, I almost always dedicate to PlayStation, but most nights I actually log in on both. I'll play, I'll run a normal or something on PC, and then I'll do questing on PlayStation or vice versa. So, I try and split my time when I can.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna start an announcement here. And more details will come about, but it's in its formative stages. But I want to get together with my Loreseeker family in real life. Yes. Now, me and Katie have met several times down in Disney World. She works down there, and I live about an hour away, and I like going there. So we run into each other from time to time. But in May, there are other Loreseekers that I know of that are coming down to Florida. So I'm hoping we can have a quick get together, or maybe a dinner, or maybe a night out in the Disney Orlando area. So free beer, huh, Jason? Is that what's going to get you there? I'll buy you all the beer you want. I just said it.
Come on. Come on down.
On Steam.
You got yourself in trouble now.
I know. I sure did. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to announce more about that in May, and hopefully we can get a crew of people coming down. That would be fun. A lot of fun. So we are getting close to where we're actually a little over time. We got to get those World Boss Wednesday people going. It's okay. Actually, this was a great show. So everybody out there, have a great holiday season. Be safe. We got to get through this COVID thing still. The vaccinations are coming. I get mine tomorrow, my first one. My first shot. So hopefully I don't get too sick from it. But so there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I hope. And so stay safe and happy during this holiday season. I'm getting a little tongue-tied, I guess.
Okay.
If you'd like to join this crazy group of people, the Loreseekers. You can go to www.loreseekerseso.org and start off there. There'll be links to get you where you need to go. We're on Twitter at loreseekers.eso and on Twitch, of course, where you're watching us now at loreseekers_ESO. So let's get out there and do World Boss Wednesday. Everybody have a good night. And thank you, Katie, very much for joining me on this show. You were great.
Thanks for having me, and wash your damn hands.
Yes, wash your damn hands. Good night, everybody.
Night.